Hey gang, Kevin here, Life22, and I don't know how beautiful it is out this morning, but it was beautiful yesterday afternoon. Had the first grill of the season. Man, that was good. Had some beautiful dinner, right off the grill, using our fossil fuels, grilling up some sausages and some wieners. Nothing better on a spring afternoon when spring just breaks and taking a wiener to the dome. Mm-hmm. All right, gang. Well, not a whole ton for you this morning. St. Patty's Day is coming up. I believe it's this coming Monday. I know that there's always events going on. The Hibernians are always doing something. So if you know a member, like yours truly, you can get signed in as a guest and go and join the festivities there. There's always great things like usually someone's playing music, and there's always good time to be had. Some Irish bangers, some shepherd's pie, all the good fixins. Usually a good adult soda or two, and then the Irish dancers. And then I believe this year on Sunday, Talties is they're probably doing something on Monday, but they always usually do like a like an Irish brunch. Um, whatever weekend day is convenient for it. So, and I believe this Sunday they're doing an Irish brunch, and some of the musicians from Beat City Music are going to be down there. So that's going to be a good it's going to be a good old time. So there's the update there on local news and events. The the Yeah, and then we don't really have a whole ton for you. I know that the Common Council met last night to go over their first like big kind of budget meeting of the year. So they went over a few department heads, things like that. I got a chance to catch it. I'm debating if we should go line by line on the budget on this show or not. So that'd be very insightful for the general public who don't understand how the budget works, how that stuff goes. Maybe we'll do a brief seminar on a budget, things like that. But yeah, I think, but yeah, we get a brief update on the mayor's races. So there's an email scheduled to go out, inviting all of the candidates, including the incumbent, for the mayor's race, the alderman races, and the school board races. Um, if they weren't scheduled to go out by email at 8 a.m. this morning, they're going to be scheduled. They're going to be scheduled for they they went out on Messenger. So that's that is part of the downside to some of these, because you get these, like I was surprised how many candidates actually had Facebook pages and stuff like that. There was one of them I almost didn't know she was running because she had a group. So groups don't show up typically in searches, but like because I had mutual friends with her, it managed to show up. So like the advertising gets limited on it, because they don't really, Facebook's not really for advertising groups, but pages are more like businesses, events, things you're trying to promote. So, but, so, and then she didn't have an email on the group. There was no contact info or anything like that. So I had to send it, I had to send some of those out via Messenger, along with one of the mayoral candidates and one of the school board people. Actually, I couldn't even get a hold of one of the school board people. So, um, one of the school board candidates running for the position of school board, um, uh, she doesn't receive messages unless you're friends with her. She doesn't have a page for running for school board. Um, you can't send her a message if you're a page. So it was one of those like, well, how can I invite you to the show? You don't list your email, phone number. It just says to go see you in person for signatures. But so um, I'm sure, I'm sure, I'm sure someone will get her the message that we're looking to reach out. So, but other than that, I mean, uh, because that is the issue when you if and that was the only thing that I could think of was like, I'm pointing out, if you're running for school board, you have to be accessible to the public. um if you're running for any elected position where we vote for you, you have to be accessible to the public. And some people think, well, I have a private life. Like, well, you do, but you are also now a public figure, which means that like when the rules for like libel, slander, and all that stuff, like, poking fun at a private citizen is a little is a little harder, more restrictive than like if you're an elected official. As soon as you become an elected official, all the gloves are off. Like so, um, and so the rules are different, is what I'm getting at. And so like you don't get to just hide your email. You don't get to not take phone calls. Like that's part of the job. You know, when you become an alderman, you become the mayor, you become um, a school board member. You get to receive all sorts of calls all the time. That's it. Like you don't get to just shut it off. Um, so that's like I don't know. I I would hope that this person would change their privacy settings or at least have an email that's offerable to people as soon as you know. Because that's the other thing too is like your home address is published. Like there would be people that would show up at my house and hand deliver letters because I was an alderman and they either didn't like me or they were trying to get in touch with me or whatever. It's like, well, my phone number is the same throughout everything. So you can get me anywhere. But if you don't feel like calling and talk to me on the phone, you don't feel like sending me an email because you don't think it's as personable as a letter, they would physically come to my home, which and drop notes on the door, or, drop a letter or here or there, or, my wife has received a few like handwritten letters that were hand delivered. Like that's it. That's part of the game. Like that's the people are entitled to get in touch with you. Like any like obviously they don't get to just storm in during an executive session where you're talking about like litigation or something behind the scenes, but like they're entitled to get in touch with you. Like that's it. And I would get emails at like 2 o'clock in the morning. I wouldn't reply to them at 2 o'clock in the morning. You got to give a little grace, but yeah, no, I mean that. So I would just I hope that mentality of like, no, my privacy settings are as restricted as they can be. I hope you understand that like they don't get to be when you become a public official. Um, so, yeah. And, but anyways, that said, so those emails got sent out. We've got, I don't know if you caught it the other day, but, the beautiful Miss Della Moore was on the show Tuesday evening. That got published. That was 2 hours long. So if you were waiting for it to come out on YouTube, it didn't come out until probably midnight by the time it finished processing. So, but I'm hoping that you did catch it. We should be, I'll try to get that shared on her page. I know that we tagged her in it, but, yeah, it was one of those, it was one of those things that she's just a great wealth of information. She's just a wonderful person. So if you didn't catch it, it's in the backlogs, it's in the files. You can go watch that. You can watch any other interview we've done with Dell. I believe we've had her on the show. This will be her third time being on the show. We're testing out the Zoom this weekend so we can start bringing in Zoom guests. We'll be testing that out so we can bring in guests that maybe can't make it from far away, or with all these different upcoming interviews with elected officials. Some of them are not going to be available, as you know, they just won't be. They might not be available to come in person to the show, and we want to be able to give them the option to be able to Zoom in. And so getting all that stuff together is going to be fun. Working on that this weekend, and then on Sunday we've got a local rap legend coming on the show, so that'll be fun. See what he has to say. We'll see what he's got coming up, and just get a one-on-one with him. So we're just just plugging along here at the Life22 studios. Yeah. I'm just trying to think. We got budget talks. You got the Alderman races. So yeah, looks like Ward 2 is going to be contested. Rochelle. Anyways, I saw her Facebook not too long ago. That's how I had to send her a message. And now I'm drawing a blank on her last name. I wasn't there long enough to, I saw if I, did my homework and whatever, but it wasn't published in the paper. You know what I mean? If it's, and also that's another thing. People think that like Facebook is the end all be all. Like Facebook is important. Social media is important. If I Google you and I can't find out anything about you, if I Google Ward 2 race, Joe Kerry's name shows up. Or then it shows like as you start scrolling down, it gets to like past elections. If you type in Ward 4, like I come up, and it's kind of funny. They don't talk about any of the new newspaper articles as much in their algorithms. So I mean, you really got to get, but the newspapers do show up. So if you're not getting your name out to the paper, whether it is the rag of the Times Herald or if it's the new and upcoming Olean Star, or to us, you really need to do exposés. You need to let people know, because people don't know. I mean, you go door to door, like, that's great. Door knocking is the number one way to get people out to vote, and to get people to actually to sway a vote. I've had people that are like, I hate you for this. And I'm like, you want to talk about it? And I will sit 30 minutes on someone's porch and talk with them about it and be like, I think that you've misunderstood what happened. And then I will explain it to them. And I've had people change. I've also had people say, thank you for explaining it to me. I'm still not going to vote for you, but I appreciate you coming to my door and explaining my concerns. And, hey, that's all you can do, right? So, but going door to door is the number one way to get people out there to vote. Reminding people to vote is another big thing. So having all those newspaper articles reminding people to go to the polls. So if you're at their door and they're like, oh, that person was great. And then all of a sudden, election day comes and goes for a lot of people and they don't remember to go. And you're just like, oh, what do I do? I didn't win. Like, well, yeah, it's because none of the people that said they're going to vote for you actually went out and voted, because they were like, oh, I'll vote for you. But now you got to get their ass to the poll. And that's a big thing. I used to drive people to the polls on election day. Like, I would have like people, if there was somebody that was like in a walker or whatever, when they came to the door, or I'd go sit down, at their kitchen table and drink coffee and talk politics with them. And there was a couple of them that, they were having trouble getting around, and you'd say, hey, do you need a ride to the polls? Like, oh yeah, no, or I mail in ballot, and okay, great. Mail in ballot. Do it up. That's what it's there for. It's because you physically can't go to the polls. You're bedbound, and I had one lady that she had to take care of her husband, and I mean, he's since passed, and she goes to the polls now on her own, but she's like, I can't really leave him that often for long periods of time, so I don't want to like pepper it in with a trip. And she's like, and he's can't go, so she mails in ballots for both of them, which that makes sense. Like, she's a caregiver to him and he can't go, so you mail in both. Save yourself a trip. Boom. There's other people that are overseas, defending our country. So, but to each their own. But then here's the thing. You see somebody having trouble and you say, hey, do you need a ride to the polls? Or would you need me to get you the information you need for a mail-in ballot? You catch somebody and says, oh, well, my wife isn't registered under this party, or isn't, and then you go do some research for these people and you say, your wife's not registered to vote at all, not in our county. And then, because that's the only thing I really ever, I could probably dig, but it's one of those, and then you help people register to vote, and people remember stuff like that. But then taking down names, numbers, addresses, emails, and then send out a text message. Hey, it's election day. Don't forget, get out there. School board is very important for that, because almost nobody goes to the school board elections. The budget goes up and up and up every year, because the only people voting for them are the teachers and the administrators, the people who are requesting the budget as is, and so it never typically gets voted down. So, and then the other people that vote for it are like, oh, I always vote in the school board election because we need to help the kids. And like, they think just voting yes to the budget means that they're helping the kids. And sometimes that stuff isn't. Like, throwing more money at problems does not solve the problem. But, so I encourage all of you to go watch last night's budget meeting talk. I saw that Vernon Robinson Jr. had posted about it for his Ward 6 notes. He always posts very extensive notes onto his page. I think that's phenomenal for transparency. So I would encourage you to go find that and read that. I hadn't read it yet. I just saw that it was up. I watched the meeting last night into this morning, and then so I would encourage you to go watch that. Stay abreast of local topics, and we've got some exciting stuff coming up, like I mentioned, and we will catch you guys tomorrow. Well, I mean, today's Friday, isn't it? We will catch you guys next time on Life22. If you don't hear, well, you'll hear from us over the weekend. I'm sure you will, and you'll all be excited about it, right? Because you're going to be like, man, I didn't get to hear that beautiful blooming voice on Saturday morning, but at least I got to hear it Sunday afternoon. It's a good start to your week. All right, guys. See you next time.